Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening to the folks here on Nevis, as always. Good evening to you, wherever you are on this island. But let me, of course, especially remember the wonderful people of St. John's and people up there in Church Ground, and all the way up to Cox and all the way down to Bath. Good evening to you. Good evening to the people of St. Paul's, the people of St. Thomas's, the people of St. James, and of course the people of St. George, Gingerland. Good evening to you wherever you are tonight. Welcome to another edition of On The Mark. Good evening to our friends and family on our sister island of St. Kitts. Good evening to our friends and family who are all across the Caribbean and in the United States and Canada and in the United Kingdom and in Taiwan and anywhere else that you happen to be. If you're tuned in tonight, good evening to you. My name is Mark Brantley, and I'm delighted to be here with you on another Wednesday for On The Mark, straight talk across the Narrows. We will be here, God willing, for 2 hours of commercial free talk radio from 8 to 10. We're here every Wednesday and have become a fixture in the radio landscape and the talk landscape here in the Federation, for which we are truly grateful. We could not be here were it not for the financial contribution of Daniel Brantley. We want to thank them, a leading law firm here in St. Kitts Nevis and in the region, and we also want to thank you, the audience, because you continue to listen and continue to be a part of this show. Some people tell me they never miss the show, and for that I'm truly grateful. Let me start the show tonight on a sad note. We have had the very tragic news of the passing of Rafi Wallace. I think all of us knew and loved Rafi. Rafi was, of course, renowned as a fast bowler here on the island of Nevis, and he worked in the government here in Nevis for a very, very long time. He was one of those who was always the life of the party, very jovial, very opinionated. People who knew Rafi loved Rafi. And I would want to send my deepest condolences to his family. I know that Rafi was ailing for some time, certainly to his wife. I have spoken to her, to his siblings. I have spoken to some of them, not all yet, but I intend to do so. And of course to his children and his entire family. I want to send my condolences to them all. Rafi was really a wonderful human being, somebody that we all loved, and his loss will be deeply felt, I know, by many. I've seen tributes pouring out all across the place from former players and former teammates, etc., and I would really just like to join with everyone in extending my deepest condolences. So we have lost a great one. Rafi Wallace, an icon of cricket here on the island of Nevis, has gone to the great beyond. We know now he's in no more pain, and we are hopeful that God will have mercy on his soul. And so to his family who are bereaved, we extend our deepest sympathies. I, of course, have to mention my dear Hyacinth, my deepest sympathies to you, Claire, Sandri, and the entire family. Please accept our sympathies. And from all of us here at Von Radio and from all of us here on The Mark, we extend our deepest sympathies to the family and pray that the prayers of the multitude will indeed comfort you in this your hour of grief. And so, Rafi, we have lost you, and we pray and hope that the family has the strength and fortitude to continue. For those out there who may also have lost loved ones, please accept my condolences. I always say to people that if they wish me to say something at the top of the show, send me a note, because of course I don't always know who might have passed on, but please accept my condolences if you've lost loved ones. I also, of course, would extend my best wishes to those who are hospitalized, those who are sick, that of course we continue to be concerned about you, and we are praying and hoping that you make a fulsome recovery in the shortest space of time. Let me, while I'm extending condolences, extend condolences as well to my friend, sister, there from Cox. I know her sister. We would have gone to school together at some point, and of course she is quite young, only 52 years old, and would have lost her life. I would too like to send condolences to her family and those who survive her, and pray again that the prayers of the multitude would comfort them in their hour of bereavement. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we got back the autopsy results for someone who had passed, and I'm sad to report that we have another death from COVID on the island of Nevis, bringing us to 5 deaths on Nevis total. One death is one too many. Sadly, we have now had 5, and the irony is that all 5 are unvaccinated. All 5 deaths that we've had on Nevis from COVID are unvaccinated. it means that 100% of those who have passed away from COVID on the island of Nevis are unvaccinated. They have not been vaccinated. They have died from this disease. So many out there continue to prevaricate, so many continue to delay and to differ and to say, well, I'm not sure, maybe next week, maybe next month. 5 people have died on Nevis from COVID. All 5 were unvaccinated. All 5 had not taken the vaccine. That speaks for itself. We are not saying that the vaccine is a solution to every problem, but we are saying with the vaccine you have a better fighting chance of resisting COVID. 5 dead in Nevis. All 5. None of them are vaccinated. That speaks for itself. It speaks for itself that 100% of the deaths that we've had on the island, 100% of them have been unvaccinated. And so I'm praying and hoping that our people will take heed. The island is opening up. The country is opening up. What happens when the tourists start to come? What happens when we are forced, because of the need for the economy to be revived, to reopen our doors fully? What happens when the quarantine period is removed? It means that you who are unvaccinated become at risk. I realize in Austria, the government there has announced that all unvaccinated persons will now go on lockdown. The vaccinated can move about, but the unvaccinated have to stay at home. Countries are taking different measures, but I think the message is the same. Unvaccinated persons are at high risk. High risk for this disease, high risk for transmission, high risk for hospitalization, high risk for death. 5 persons, our brothers and sisters, our family members, our neighbors, have lost their lives on this island because of COVID-19. And all 5 were not vaccinated. That, I think, sends a very powerful message of how important it is for us to protect ourselves. Now, I believe those of you who know that I have been in the forefront of this fight, and I have been agitating in every available forum for our people to get vaccinated. I'm doing so because I think that we need to protect ourselves, and we need to protect each other, and we need to get our island restarted. And there are some good signs. We have had today reported on Nevis 1 new case. We now are down to only 5 active cases. We are, through the grace of God, without any hospitalizations at this point. But sadly, we've had 5 deaths. And we've had 453 cases of COVID, all told, on the island of Nevis. Nationally, the figures are much higher. We've had 2,760 cases on St. Kitts Nevis, 453 on Nevis, 2,307 on St. Kitts. There are 52 active cases nationally, 5 on Nevis, and of course 47 on St. Kitts. And today we had 4 new cases, 1 on Nevis and 3 on St. Kitts. We've had 28 deaths, 5 on Nevis and 23 on St. Kitts. So the situation, my friends, isn't the one where we can say all clear and signal victory. No, we still have a fight on our hands with COVID, but there are signs of recovery, and for that I'm grateful. So what is my ask of you? My ask of you is that you go out and you get yourselves vaccinated, because that is going to be critically important if we are to reopen fully and get our economy back on track. Now there's some good signs. The cruise business, for example, has restarted. Nevis has never been a big cruise destination, but I was very pleased to see that 39 cruise calls are scheduled for Nevis this year. And just today we had Seabourn Odyssey here, a carrying capacity of 540 passengers, 335 crew. And it was a majestic sight to see Seabourn Odyssey in the Charleston Harbor today. Equally, just on yesterday, you had 3 mega ships docked in Bastia, and we could really say that the cruise industry is back. Taximen and others who have prepared themselves, who are vaccinated, who are certified, those taximen are making a dollar where they have not made any for the past 2 years. I have had occasion to say publicly, and I say it so now again, that I give commendations to the Honorable Lindsay Fitzpatrick Grant. Why, might you ask? I do so because I can't tell you the number of times Lindsay has called me privately to discuss tourism to discuss cruise. I can't begin to tell you the number of times he has come to the cabinet and agitated for the cruise industry to restart. How he has passionately made the case for the primate vendors, the hair braiders, and the small man in the parliament to get again the opportunity to earn. And when I saw those 3 ships yesterday, and I saw the ship in town here today, and I saw and felt the outpouring of joy, that exuberance, the sense of hope that people once again had, that the economy, which had been forced into a deep coma because of COVID, that economy was now starting to show signs of recovery. I had to publicly commend Lindsey Grant, because I believe if it were not for his insistence, his agitation, that we would not be here at this point today. So Lindsey, wherever you are, if you're hearing my voice, take a bow. I really and truly believe that you deserve to be commended. And for me, that's what leadership is all about. Leadership is all about sharing that spotlight, being able to commend colleagues when they perform. So many of us are preoccupied with I do that, I do this, I do that, me, when at the end of the day, when stripped off, some of us didn't do much. So the people who have actually done the work, the people who have actually made the effort, I believe they should be recognized. And so Lindsey, I have no difficulty because I was there. I understand how hard you worked and how many times you came, time and time again. Sometimes you left empty-handed, but you came back. And yesterday St. Kitts had 3 mega ships, and today Nevis had a ship in harbour, and for that we are truly grateful. Let's continue to work together. And as the tourists come back, I urge our people to continue to vaccinate and continue to recognize and adhere to the protocols. I'm very happy to hear that the Four Seasons Resort is saying that again for the first time in 2 years they're looking lively again for Thanksgiving, having several hundred guests coming in for Thanksgiving, and again for festive they're looking lively, having several hundred over the festive season. When Four Seasons does well, Nevis does well. And so again I am urging our people, prepare yourselves. I spoke to a young man recently. He said he was looking for work. He was offered 2 separate jobs in 2 separate places. He says he's desperate for work. They said, however, he has to interact with people, and so they want to be sure that he's vaccinated. He said he not take no vaccine. He prefer to stay home. But he called me, making noise, and tell me he not working. What am I to do? What am I to do? I keep telling people that my name is Mark, and yes, Mark is a book in the Bible. Mark is a name from the Bible. Mark is featured in the Bible. But Mark is not Jesus. Jesus was the one who worked miracles. And so we must understand that we have to be responsible. Prepare ourselves for the opportunities. If it is you want a job, then prepare yourself for that job. If you're not a job out there requires you to have X amount of subjects or Y amount of certification, go and get it. You can't sit back and then call me and cuss and say you can't get in the particular job. Well, the particular job has requirements. So if you want a job, put yourself in a position with the requirements so that you are eligible. And so I had to speak to this young man. I said, but young man, you're not serious about getting a job. Because if you say you're very hungry and 2 jobs are offered to you and the people ask you your vaccine, you say, I'll take no vaccine. So you prefer to dead from hungry. I have taken the vaccine, my entire family has taken the vaccine, and thus far, let me go back to the numbers. Thus far, over 50,000 doses of the vaccine have been administered in St. Kitts and Nevis. And in our little island of Nevis, over 12,000 doses have been administered. Nobody has died from the vaccine. Let me say that again. Nobody in St. Kitts and Nevis has died from the vaccine. But we have 28 people who have died from COVID. That much we know. Nobody has died from the vaccine, but we have 28 persons who have died from COVID. And in Nevis, the 5 that have died from COVID were not vaccinated. 100% they were not vaccinated. So what does that tell you? Prepare yourselves. People have been suffering here for the past 2 years out of work. One taxi man tell me he doesn't know the last time he earned $1. Things have been difficult. Now that we are working and the island is coming back to some sense of normalcy, people are coming again, tourists are coming, businesses are starting up, restaurants are opening up left, right and center, duty-free shops are opening up. The people need workers, but they're saying you're coming to contact with people. Prepare yourself. You can't expect that you're going to call me. And what am I going to say to you? When you have turned down 2 jobs, 2 different employers who are saying to you, because you have to interact with people, we want you to be vaccinated. And you say no, you prefer to stay home. But yet you tell me you're dead hungry and saying the government, nah, I do nothing for you. But what am I to do for you? What am I to do? Because the opportunities are there if you only put yourself in a position to grasp them. So I want to make that point clear. I will not belabor it. But young man, if you're listening, go and get vaccinated and go and get your job, please, and get to work. That's what's important. Let me announce that World Diabetes Day is being celebrated. Well, I don't know if celebrated, marked, I should say, on the island of Nevis. And the Taiwan ICDF, along with our health promotion unit, is having some screenings. So where are they going to be? On the 18th, I think that's tomorrow. And the 19th, let me make sure. Yes, 18th is tomorrow, the 19th. They're going to be at the Cotton Ginnery Mall. And they're going to be offering screenings for BMI, height and weight, waist circumference, blood sugar, blood pressure, proteinuria. I hope I have that right, proteinuria. And basically, they're going to be checking you for diabetes and screening you generally. So it's free. We're inviting people to go out to the Cotton Ginnery Mall tomorrow and Friday, November 18th and 19th, from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. each day, and get screened. And I'm also pleased to announce that the Combermere Health Center is having its Health Expo right in Combermere on Saturday the 27th of November from 7 a.m. to 12 p.m. They're going to be doing screenings at Combermere and St. James's Parish for blood pressure, blood sugar screening. You'll be able to get your COVID-19 vaccine right there. They're going to have some HIV screening, some pap smear screening, BMI, mental health corner, demonstration of simple exercises, question and answer to win prizes, and some HIV counseling. And of course, they'll provide some healthy snacks. So let me go over that again. Combermere Health Center, Health Expo, Sunday the 27th of November. That's not this Sunday, next Sunday. 7 a.m. to 12 p.m. They're going to be screening you, doing blood pressure checks, blood sugar screening, COVID-19 vaccines right there on the spot, HIV screening, pap smear screening, BMI, mental health corner, demonstration of simple exercises, question and answer to win some prizes, and of course they'll have some healthy snacks. While I'm on the health, which is our wealth, let me commend again the Honorable Alexis Jeffers, the Deputy Premier, because his walk as part of his 10th anniversary as a parliamentarian was so successful that he has now instituted a monthly walk. And so that is taking place on November 27th, same Sunday, November 27th. That's, let me check, I don't want to give wrong dates, let me check. Saturday, I'm sorry, November 27th, forgive me. Saturday, November 27th. He is going to have his monthly walk, and he's inviting you to join as we promote healthier lifestyles. The walk starts at 6 a.m. The walk will be at the Newcastle bus stop. It starts at the Newcastle bus stop, and then it continues from there, and it goes, my phone isn't cooperating with me. It starts at the Newcastle bus stop, and then it continues from there to Shaw's Road, up Shaw's Road into Go Hill Fountain through Mount Lillian Camps and finishes at Herbert's Beach, where the Honorable Alexis Jeffers will serve a healthy breakfast. So November 27th, Saturday, November 27th, join Alexis Jeffers, the Deputy Premier, for his monthly health walk. Starts in at 6 a.m. at Newcastle bus stop, going up to Shaw's Road, onto Go Hill Fountain, through Mount Lillian Camps, finishes at Herbert's Beach, where breakfast will be served. And on that same day, the 27th, Saturday the 27th of November, 7 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the St. James Parish Combermere Health Center, there's a health expo, where they will be screening you for blood pressure, blood sugar screening, COVID-19 vaccinations available on site, HIV screening, BMI, pap smear screening, mental health corner, demonstration of simple exercises, and of course they have some healthy snacks available for you. And then tomorrow, Thursday and Friday, you can go to the Cotton Ginnery Mall between 7 a.m. and 8 a.m. and 12 p.m. and get screened again for BMI, your waist circumference, I'm afraid of that one, blood sugar, blood pressure, proteinuria, and they of course are checking to make sure that we don't have diabetes or it's under control, as we mark World Diabetes Day and provide greater access to diabetes. Congratulations to the good people at the Taiwan ICDF. Taiwan continues to be an excellent partner to us, and congratulations of course to the Health Promotion Unit. All the time is flying by and I have a few things to say, so let me now switch gears and talk for a bit about foreign affairs. I was very pleased to realize a dream that our country has had now for some time, when our embassy in Abu Dhabi, the United Arab Emirates, was opened. It was opened by, of course, our ambassador, His Excellency Justin Hawley, and the Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Timothy Harris, who's also in the United Arab Emirates at this time. And I was privileged to see the photos and the press releases from that, and I feel quite proud, because as Foreign Minister, I have ticked another box as an accomplishment, a success story that I've been able to achieve for our country. We would recognize that it was under Dr. Denzel Douglas as Prime Minister that a Consul General's office was opened in Dubai in the United Arab Emirates. And we had a Consul General there for some time. I believe it was a lady called Alex Woodley, and thereafter we had, of course, Elsa Ambrister, and then we had Justin Hawley. The decision was taken to try to upgrade from simply having a consular office to having a full-fledged embassy. And I took on that responsibility, and working with Justin Hawley in Dubai, the United Arab Emirates, I want to give tremendous kudos to P.S. Kebas, because she worked at this very hard, and we were able to negotiate with the United Arab Emirates government a package which allowed us to open a full-fledged embassy in Abu Dhabi, the capital. And so I'm very pleased today. I really feel happy and pleased that we were able to achieve this. I could not be in the UAE for the occasion, but the Prime Minister was there and he would have done the necessaries. But this, as I said, is certainly, for me, a personal accomplishment as Minister of Foreign Affairs of this country, because we took this idea from its inception and implemented it through negotiations with the UAE government, that we now have a full-fledged embassy. And so I'm proud to say that as Foreign Minister, I have opened new embassies in Ottawa, Canada, and now in the United Arab Emirates. That has happened because of the foresight, because of the hard work and the dedication to expanding the diplomatic footprint of St. Kitts and Nevis. Now that office in the United Arab Emirates is going to be important, because the UAE sits at the crossroads of the Middle East and allows us therefore to have a presence in the Middle East in a significant way. Just as we are seeking to expand our footprint in Africa, so too we are seeking to expand our footprint in the Middle East. And so certainly I am very happy tonight that we were able to accomplish that, and to have another embassy, so that our people, when they travel now to the United Arab Emirates, they have full diplomatic cover. They have an embassy now in Abu Dhabi, and I believe that it's only Dominica in our part of the region who has an embassy there as well. So we again, St. Kitts and Nevis, are among the leaders. We were the first to have a consul general there in Dubai and a consulate in Dubai, and we now have a full-fledged embassy inaugurated today by the Prime Minister and by our ambassador, His Excellency Justin Hawley, happening today. For God be the glory. When I took this job, I did not know a thing about diplomacy. And I remember I called a very good friend who's been a diplomat, a distinguished diplomat of long standing. And she said to me, you will learn. Just listen more than you talk, and you will learn. And I'm so happy at the successes, that under my watch and through the leadership that I've provided to my team, we have been able to open embassies now in Ottawa, and now a brand new embassy in Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates. To God be the glory. Let us continue to work hard and work together as we continue to expand our diplomatic footprint. We continue to expand our relations with existing friends, and we continue to seek new friends. We continue to sign diplomatic relations formally with various countries. We continue to sign visa waivers. I keep saying to our people, you sometimes say, oh, why Mr. Brantley go on and sign a visa waiver with Burkina Faso in Africa, with Gabon in Africa, with Palestine? We don't want to go there. It's not the point. The point is that wherever you want to go, I have said and I made it public to say that I want St. Kitts and Nevis citizens to get to a point where they can put a blindfold on, take a dart, throw it at the world map, and wherever that dart lands, they can go without a visa. That's what I would like. While I have not abandoned the idea of Canada, Canada has not been as responsive as we would like in relation to our request to reinstate our visa-free access that we lost in 2014. But they have, notwithstanding they've introduced the visa, agreed to our request that they will come to take the biometrics here so that our people no longer need to travel to Trinidad to give their biometrics. It hasn't happened due to COVID recently, but we anticipate that it will start again soon, and we are agitating with them to have that restarted. We have not given up on restoring visa-free access to Canada. But as I said, it has been difficult. Sometimes we feel that we're making some progress, and then Canada has had so many changes at the top, so many new foreign ministers. I believe they've had 3 or 4 in the last 3 or 4 years. It has been difficult, therefore, to develop the traction and the relationship. But I know that our ambassador, our High Commissioner, there, Her Excellency Sherry Truss, a daughter of Rice's in Gingerland, that she's working hard as one of our most senior and distinguished diplomats to make it happen. And so again I say, to God be the glory. Diplomacy does matter. A lot of people here question sometimes what we do. It does matter. We look at the relationships that we've had with places like Taiwan. Yesterday I visited the park at Pinnes. We will open the park on the 19th day of December in the year of our Lord 2021. That means that the park will be open in just over a month. It has been a labor of love, and I'm inviting all of Nevis to come. Yes, I said so, because it's your park. You must come and see it. It is out of this world what has been created here in Nevis, and I believe that you will be well pleased with the effort. It has been funded jointly by the government and people of the Republic of China, Taiwan, and by the Nevis Island Administration. And it is a vision that was born out of Earl Malcolm Gishard, the great, honorable, and venerable. May his soul rest in peace. It was his vision to have a park at Pinnes. It was he who ensured that that land that is there, from the road all the way down to the sea, that it was maintained for the benefit of the people of Nevis. And while Malcolm has passed on, that vision has remained, that light has remained. And I am so proud that as the Premier of this island, that I have been able to bring Malcolm's vision now to fruition for the benefit of the people of this island and for all who call Nevis home and all who will come home and visit. I am hoping that we could stream that event live so that friends and family across the globe will be able to see that. I'm hopeful that Malcolm's family, wherever they are, will feel proud that Malcolm's vision has come to light. I am hopeful that Malcolm's colleagues, the Honorable Vance Amory, who was leader at the time and who would have led Malcolm in the cabinet and in the party, his cabinet colleagues such as Jean Harris, Franklin Brand, and others, that they would see the benefit, Mr. Brandy and others, that they will all see the benefit of coming to this to celebrate an achievement that really for me is demonstrative of the grittiness of Nevisians, the will, the ability to fight even against the odds to achieve. And so I want everybody to come. If you can't come to the opening, come the next day. I'm told on that night we're going to keep the ceremony short because it's not about ceremonies now. People want to see and experience. I'm asking you to bring the children. I believe they will be fascinated by the children's area that is there. And guess what? We're going to be using what is referred to as the amphitheater. Open door, open air. And we're going to be showing movies for the first 3 nights that the park is open. So the 19th, the 20th, and the 21st. You can enjoy with your family movies on the amphitheater lawn and the open air. It's like, you know, in the old days, people used to go to drive-in movies. Well, this is not a drive-in, it's a sit-down. But I believe that you will be impressed beyond measure to see what has been created here. I want to publicly, again, thank Mr. John Hanley, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Tourism, who led this effort. Mr. Vincent Lai, Taiwanese, but we consider him now one of us, because he has been embedded with us now for the past 3 years, and he is a phenomenal person. Mr. Michael Perkins, when the project had some issues, I reached out to Perks. I said, Perks, I want you involved to solve these technical issues, and he has performed in an incredible way. So Perkins, if you're listening, thank you, sir, because it's because of you and your intervention we got past a lot of the hurdles that had been created. And of course, Kwangjo, the contractors who did a phenomenal job down there, ensuring that you, the people of Nevis, are going to be impressed when you get there. There are some booths there for purposes of vending, and those booths have been allocated. The vendors say that they will be ready in time for the opening, and I'm hopeful that that is so. I believe that there will be a smoothie shop, and that smoothie shop, I'm told, will be selling my favorite bubble tea, which is a Taiwanese favorite. If you get a chance, you should try it. And I'm also told that there will be a video arcade for the kids, something that we haven't had in Nevis since Caribbean Cove closed down all those years ago. And I believe, therefore, that your children will come there and feel safe. We've invested already in landscaping, we've invested in a manager, we've invested in necessary tools, we've invested in necessary personnel. We are going to have you properly uniformed and outfitted. We've invested in security. I believe that this will be a phenomenal milestone achievement for us, and something that when I go there, I'm not only filled with awe, I'm filled with pride. And so I'm really hopeful that people come out and be part of the transformation that is happening in Nevis before our eyes. You're going to be your park. Please come out and be a part of it on the 19th of December. Ladies and gentlemen, it's 25 minutes to the hour. I'm going to open the lines now and allow some calls to flow. Whoever wants to call, 869-469-1616 and 869-469-1700. Those are the numbers to call, and I invite you to do so now. Let me go to the phones and say good evening. You're on the mark. Hello?
Good evening, Michelle.
Good evening to you, my dear. How are you doing?
Well, I'm giving God thanks.
Yes. What do you have for me tonight?
Romans 8, verse 35, 36, and 37. Who shall separate us from the love of Christ? Shall tribulation, or distress, or persecution, or famine, or nakedness, or peril or sword. As it is written, for thy sake we are killed all the day long. We are accounted as the sheep for the slaughter. Nay, in all these things we are more than conquerors through him that loves us. Sympathies going out to all who lose their loved ones. Culture, good night. Mark, you have a blessed night.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that. We're taking your calls. Thank you for your scripture. As always, you really add value to this show. Every week you call first or second caller, mostly the first time caller, and you always give us something to think about. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Good evening, Honorable.
How are you, my dear?
I am great.
What do you have for me tonight?
Positive mindset is vital for surviving hard times. I repeat, positive mindset is vital for surviving hard times. Have a great evening.
Positive mindset is important for surviving hard times. And we've had some hard times, believe me. We have to remain positive. Thank you again for that thought. And I was just about to mention that we normally start with a scripture and a thought. And these two ladies have taken it upon themselves to offer this very, very uplifting service, let me call it that, to the people, because I didn't ask them to do it. They have opted to do it, and I thank them both. Let me go back to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark. Caller, we're having some difficulties. I don't know if you're on a cell phone. If you can call back in, let me try this caller. Call. Okay. The numbers again are 869-469-1616 and 869-469-1700. Let's try this call again. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Good evening, Dr. Mark.
Good evening to you.
How are you doing?
I am well, thank you.
Okay, I'm well too. Thank you for saying what I wanted to say last night on the program, Talks That Get Results. Because you forced me. So thank you for that. And my sympathy go out to the cricketer guy in Neves who passed away.
Rafi.
Yeah, Rafi. Yeah. My sympathy go out to him, his family and whatnot. Well, we all have to go there someday. Now, listening to the program last night, as usual, sometimes I used to hear one of my grandmothers say, "Make it a hush. You sound better when you not say nothing than when you say." That's a serious, serious statement. Now, you got some people, they're so daring. They have, I sometimes wonder if the heart is working and the conscience is dead. Because I heard some kind of rumor last night banging about 360 something million dollars was given to Nevis administration, and it was what the bandit name it was used again? Scandal, not scandal, no. I forget the word it is, but the word means that it wasn't spent of great value. I want to know if building the new police station at Newcastle Airport, if that was what you call oh boy,
anyway. Squander is the word you're looking for?
Yes, man, that's right. I want to know if building the new police station at Newcastle Airport, if that was squandered money to do that. And I want to know if putting the Mondo truck in Nevis, if that was squandered money to do that. Because with the truck, it seems like the Mondo truck has guts and bumps. So the athletes who go there to train, they will not benefit from the name of the truck, Mondo truck. So they would not be able to compete on international level because they do not have a proper facility, since the money was squandered over there. And I wanted to know if the new wing on the Alexandria Hospital, that was squandered money. And also the agriculture farm that the agriculture minister, my friend Mr. Alexis Jeffers, if all those plants down there was bought with squandered money. So when people open their mouth and say they don't see where the $360-something million gone. It was squandered. I mean, how people could be so daring? No wonder the older people used to say, man, them they could stick in a rasso and a smile with you and say they love you. Come on, people, man. Not for the sake of politics, start the truth. So I always speak the truth. But Mark, I would rather somebody to spit in my face and kick me than to tell a lie on me. Because when a lie gone in your ear and your brain, you can't come back out, you know.
Well, caller, you know what? I'm happy you raised that issue because I was forced to call into a program here last night. And I will be honest with you, I don't normally do that because I figure if people have their moment of fame, let them have it. Yeah?
Yeah.
So I don't normally call in. But to me, the level that people were descending to, you know, you have some people in this country who benefit from the improvements that are happening here. They benefit from all that is going on in the country.
Yeah.
And they are still first in line to say nothing is happening. And I don't understand it. One of the individuals who was on here last night drives on a brand new road every single day.
Yeah.
A road that was not touched in over 50 years. That my government was able to transform. And say nothing happened. Let us see nothing happening. It is something that I don't mind. I was in opposition. I understand opposition. But my point is, come with something that is believable, plausible, something that people can say, boy, you know, that makes sense. How you going up and down tell Nevis people nothing happening? In this COVID environment, caller, COVID, we have brought more water to Nevis. You hear anybody about say water off in Nevis now?
No.
We just went through a dry season. Not a soul even notice. Thank God for Spencer Brand and the effort that he has put in terms of water. We have put over 400,000 gallons of new water into the system every day.
Okay.
We have increased storage capacity, increased our distribution. Anywhere you are now in Nevis, you're getting water. I mean, I talk about no trickling of water busting down your pipe.
Okay then.
Electricity. They used to ball out. Power go off too often. We went ahead, you know what we said? Yes, we are trying to work on geothermal energy. We want renewable energy. But I can't have Nevis in darkness while we wait. So we went ahead and took the decision to buy another brand new Wärtsilä engine. It arrived only a few days ago. That's the second engine, caller, that we're buying in the last few years. And the experts are telling me that that engine, coupled with the former Wärtsilä that we bought, in the last 4 years, we have bought 2 Wärtsilä engines. They're saying that that will help us stabilize electricity in Nevis and reduce outages to an absolute minimum. Because here what used to happen, when they had to take off one of the big engines to service,
Yeah.
part of the island had to go in darkness.
Okay.
We don't have no redundancy. So we have bought the engine. You know what these same naysayers say? Oh, why I buy engine are going backward? Nobody use diesel engine now. So they prefer for the people in Nevis to be in darkness. In this COVID environment, we went out there, we did the unthinkable. We brought a whole company here to produce movies in Nevis.
Right, right.
It's 3 movies that don't make in Nevis, you know? 3, 1, let me speak properly, 3.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. They already made 3 movies in Nevis.
Oh, nothing doing.
And they're making a 4th one now where they've included our sister island of St. Kitts. They're doing some shooting at Kittitian Hill and some over here in Nevis.
And hear this, Brother Mark.
Yeah, man, let me hear you.
Yeah. The roads that they criticizing say that are your prioritized road, and you should concentrate on other things, houses. Like I said last week, if there is no road, how you gonna get to your house?
You use helicopter?
Helicopter?
Yeah.
Eh? And I mean, come on, people. Listen, a lie is more powerful and dangerous than the COVID. Because if the COVID come and meet your immune system well up to date and everything, it had to go somewhere else. But a lie mash up the the integrity of a country and anybody. Mash up your character with a lie. So I hate lawyers and thieves, them too. Good night, Cutie, and good night, Diane. Brother Mark, I'll come again.
Yeah, man. Well, thank you for that. And I mean, I think you've opened the gate. So let me walk in the gate that you've opened. Because, as I said, I am concerned that people continue to play. If they're stupid, that is their business. But don't treat Nevis people as being stupid. In this pandemic, we brought more electricity, better electricity, more stable. In this pandemic, we brought more water, more stability to our water supply. In this pandemic, we brought a whole new movie industry. There's nothing happening. Ask the youngsters them who me see walking up and down now with a short MSR team. Ask the youngsters now who I go on the set, I see one of the youngsters there, he frighten me and all the man say, quiet on set, action, division. Ask them. Ask people like Von Anzen and others who are involved there today. Making a dollar. This is what you call making something out of nothing. We never had any movie industry in the Federation. Period. Little Nevis done got 3 movies made. 3. 1, 2, 3. Uno, dos, tres. Un, dos, trois. 3. Since this COVID pandemic starting in January this year. It's remarkable. Remarkable. What they do? They have somebody they say run against me. I can't remember his name. The boy who had the CFBC problems. He go online and bash the people. Say, oh, the man is this and the people are that and the people are the other. Right? The people come here, they're renting out nearly all the rooms over at a place called Hamilton Resort. Kept them in business during this COVID pandemic. Renting cars, contributing to the economic well-being of the island. During COVID, we did that. We have not stopped there, you know. The Honorable Alexis Jeffers, that dynamo that we have here. Dynamo, you hear what I say? Full of energy, full of commitment to the people. Look at Madden's, you want to see a classy development in terms of housing. He didn't stop there. Working with Spencer Brand, started a housing development in Craddock Road. Started a housing development up in Hamilton. Working with me, gonna start one currently right there in the Cherry Garden area. And I believe it is tomorrow we go to Rice's in Gingerland to break ground to start one there. University Heights is ongoing and almost finished. You hear all them there, all of them during COVID. And the thing that I keep saying to our people, whether it's a police station in Newcastle, the water taxi pier. I mean, you could say nothing happening. When you go over by the water taxi pier and out there like Christmas every day. You can't find place to park. That has become the norm now for travel back and forth between St. Kitts and Nevis. For so many of our people, business people, etc., hop over to St. Kitts, hop back to Nevis, people going for dinner, back and forth. Water taxi. Who owns the water taxis? Look at them. 100% Nivision owned. 100%. So we took a decision, we will invest in them. Give them a proper facility. Because we knew that the pier at Wally we were using for all the time at the Wally Hotel was in disrepair. People were afraid of walking on the pier. We went and we invested the money. Built a first-class facility over there that people can use now and be comfortable. I see the NRP bigwigs use it every day. Then they come and read us and say nothing happening. Nothing happening. Because that just drop out of somewhere the sky and drop down there. We look at the CCTV center in Charlestown. State of the art. I'm so proud of the guys and what they've been able to do. State of the art. Believe me when I tell you it is a quantum leap forward in terms of security here on the island. And we are not done yet. But look at it. Look across the length and breadth of this island. Look at our Treasury building in Charlestown. Man, I driving through there the other day, I wanted to know the time. I just look up and look at the clock on the Treasury building. Beautiful building. Look, ladies and gentlemen, at what we're doing up at the hospital. Yes, we've had some delays, but we're back at it now. And we expect to be finished by next year. We're doing a major expansion. And we are getting some equipment. I'm not going to rain on the Minister of Health's parade. Let her tell you when the time comes. First class, we're moving in the right direction here. Diagnostic equipment that will take us light years ahead of where we are now. And yet I hear people, nothing happened. You drive on a road every day. Oh Lord, don't even talk about roads. Brown Hill Road, I'm so proud. When I drive there, it is smooth like a baby's bottom. Smooth. Smooth like a baby's bottom. Brown Hill Road. Fantastic work. Look at Braziers. Every property in Brown Hill and in Braziers has gone up in value because of the quality of that road. Look at the Mondo track. I said to people it was a shame that our young athletes had to run on dirt and grass up at ETW Park. We have provided a first-class facility, the only 9-lane facility in the region, using Mondo's new technology. IAAF certified, and people say nothing happened. I hear somebody last night saying, oh, that now generate no capital. Generate capital? So the well-being of our children and our student athletes is not important? The well-being of so many here who go over there to exercise every morning and use the track, that's not important? What foolishness people will come and try to tell sensible division people. And that's what I'm saying. If you must come, opposition is necessary in the country. I was there. It is necessary to keep any government on its toes. You must always be prepared. Because you are the next government. You are the government in waiting. That is how it works. But if you come chatting tomfoolery, if you come and people know that you engage in cataflam, and you want to treat Nevis people like them is kunumono, they're not going to vote for you because people are stupid. And then the point that I want to make is that all that I've described, all that we're doing, we have taken a policy decision that we will do it and let Nivisions do it. You hear what I say? Let Nivisions do it. Nivision trained engineers, contractors, plumbers, electricians. Let Nivisions do it. So who build the Treasury building in town? Who build the CCTV center? Who build the police station in Newcastle? Who's building the hospital? Nivisions. Who are building the roads? Nivisions. And we reflect, ladies and gentlemen, that there was a time in this country when the people of Nevis trained and qualified who went away to study were told, when you come home, you don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're doing. You got to practice, learn how to drive. All in an effort to justify giving all the work to a foreign company. That was the sentiment of the Nevis Reformation Party. Now you come and you want to lecture decent people who are looking out for Nevis and Nivisions. I heard the argument being posited last night that there's a 2-acre plot of land down here, just over 2 acres, the former Rest Haven, and I could talk plain because it's plain talking and I'm speaking facts. The Nevis Reformation Party acquired 14 pieces of property across the island of Nevis. They paid for none. Let me say that again. I want to be on record. They acquired 14 pieces of property on the island of Nevis and paid for none. When I say acquired, what I mean, they compulsorily acquired. Them is big word. Them take it away from people. You understand that? Them take away people land. 14 different people land them take. Them not pay for none. Now the law is very clear. The law says the government can compulsorily acquire. Let me forget about compulsory acquisition. The law said the government could take away your land if it is doing it for a public purpose and if it pays compensation. NRP take away the land, but they never paid a soul. So we now get into government, we have that burden on our hands. And a big burden is down here at West Haven. The bill is over $20 million that I have to find. The taxpayers of this country have to find because NRP took the land at West Haven and not pay the people. Then they come now and they're cussing me. Oh, you haven't done this yet and you haven't done that yet and you have... Really? We are in this position because of the legacy, the bad legacy. How you could take up people land and not pay them? Any responsible government could do that? I don't even want to go down now to talk about Nugents. Because they took those lands, sold the lands, never paid the debt, to the bank in Trinidad. So guess what? The bank in Trinidad say, we are not releasing any titles. The 10 million US dollars left by CCM in the bank, they use that too. Never paid the bank. So the bank is now saying, unless we get our money, we don't care about who buy land down in New Jersey and I get no title. Again, we have to clear that up. That is what we're dealing with. So when I hear people pontificating and all of a sudden they found Jesus, all of a sudden they love Nevis, oh my God, I'm so in love with Nevis and the visions. I hear now every week them I got free food again. Free food again. Free breakfast, free lunch, free dinner, free. For years, 20 years, them and the visions used to eat. But now every week is something free. Come and get breakfast for free. Come and get lunch for free. Come and get them. You love me, people. Long time. I love you. But 20 years. You never know that people used to eat. This is what I'm talking about. We need serious people in the country. I hear somebody come here last night on Weber. Weber, I was so glad I was able to listen to your program last night. On some levels, it was serious. On other levels, it was comic relief. Because I hear somebody come here last night say they're stepping back from the politics. And the question that sprang to my mind right away, well, you can step back if you never step forward. Because I hear a lot of people coming and talking politics, but you know that they're not serious. There used to be a sign up here where the sign said, oh yes, those cowboys and clowns. That sign has been on the wall here from time immemorial here at Von Radio. I'll look over the sign. Those cowboys and clowns. Because they come, they're not serious people. Not serious people. Now I am hearing them say, I became Premier of Nevis in December of 2017. So my first year as Premier was 2018. I then had a second year of Premier as 2019. And then as we are starting 2020, COVID hits. And the country shut down in March of 2020. And all now we're still trying to recover. And we are now in November of 2021. They say that don't matter. That doesn't matter. You look at excuse. I'm not looking at any excuses. Because we've continued to work. Look at the transformation in agriculture. Look at the number of shade houses and young people involved now in producing food for us to eat. That was our primary response to COVID here in Nevis. Look around. Look at the number of businesses that are starting up. The number of duty-free shops, restaurants that are popping up all across the island. The real estate sales. I pointed out that since last year we put a concession in place for the waiver of alien and holding license fee. And in 9 months, ladies and gentlemen, the island of Nevis saw real estate sales of over $74 million. 9 months. So I am not blaming COVID. COVID is a reality. I didn't bring it. I didn't wish it. But it came. Wuhan, China found us in Charlestown, Nevis. It came. And so what am I to do? Pretend it doesn't exist? All the plans we had to be going through our budgetary allocation and saying, boy, take money from here, push it towards the hospital. We need more PPE. We need more supplies. We need to refurbish. We spend money to create a whole isolation venue up in Prospect. These were things we were forced to do. 2 brand new ambulances. The first time in the history of the country. All the while, not one public servant was sent home. Not one worker at the statutory corporations was sent home. And all statutory corporation workers, all public servants, all pensioners got paid on time and in full, even when the offices were closed and nobody was at work. You hear me? That is what has been going on. So what you want me to do? Jump up and say COVID never happened? 4 Seasons and the other hotels never shut down because of COVID? Our airports never closed? Tourists never stopped come? With an economy built on tourism, and that has been the mainstay. Yes, now we're seeing that the diversification efforts of this government are working. But the economy has been built on tourism for years. So with tourism shut down, what is it what we're supposed to do? And I ask the question rhetorically, were we to send home people? Is that what the NRP wanted us to do? Is that what we were supposed to do? Make the situation worse and send home people? There were government workers who used to work in the hotel business in the evenings as a second job. Since that second job shut down, they only had the income from the government job. So what, we must remove that from them as well? Take away the government job? Put them on the breadline? That's what we were supposed to do? Or which caring government in a time as difficult as this would do that? But it's as if they want to say, no, none of that matters. COVID didn't matter. COVID didn't happen. I lived through a period here when they had their financial crash, 2008 I think it was. And the NRP used that and said, well, that was the problem. The financial world crashed and we had a difficulty. You think that was half or quarter as bad as what we're experiencing now? The entire world was on lockdown due to COVID. But you mustn't mention COVID because you're looking at an excuse. As I said earlier in the show, Mark is a biblical figure. But it would be wrong to confuse him with Jesus, because only Jesus used to perform miracles. And with large countries on their knees economically due to COVID, what did you all expect would happen in Nevis? What? That I would wave a magic wand and everybody would be employed and everything would be great here on the island of Nevis while the rest of the world is on its knees due to COVID. It is ridiculous. And as I say, Nevis is not no kunumono. I must stop treating them like that. If you have a plan, go to the people with a plan. You have a plan for housing. You have a plan for education. You have a plan for healthcare. Go to the people with your plan. Let us argue plans. But how are you going to drive up and down on the brand new roads in Nevis and say nothing now happen? How are you going to pass and see people employed building those roads because they were built by us and for us? Every penny we spend, we make sure that our people are the beneficiaries. You see them youngsters now who own a truck, youngsters now own a backhoe, youngsters own some piece of equipment. You know why? Because the government has empowered them. Empowered them. And created an industry through that empowerment of them. Before they were told, sit down and kick stone. Because the foreign companies brought in all of the equipment. So even if you had a little truck, your truck park up, you see foreign trucks running up and on the road. That was the NRP model. Our model is different. We say our people must be at the center of our development. What is wrong with that? And you say, oh, we're wasting money. Well, how you could be wasting money when the money is being spent with your people? How? How you could be wasting money? They say don't do roads. Well, who building the roads? It's our people, you know. Our truckers, our contractors, they're the ones. Go over butlers now. Tell me who you see over there working. When we kick off in Bath, check the people who are going to be involved in Bath. Our people. So this is what I don't understand. When you castigate and you attack and you say nothing is happening and this and that, and then again, let me just keep the mic since I have it for a minute. I'm going to come back to the phone just now. This narrative that has come out of St. about Nevis getting money, it is an unfortunate narrative, because if Nevis gets a share of what rightfully belongs to it, nobody's doing Nevis a favor. And I want to make that very clear. And I've said so many times, I hold no water in my mouth for saying so. The Federation comprises two islands, St. Kitts and Nevis. The passport program, the CBI program, has been the most significant economic activity in the Federation now in the last 20 years. Bar none. The monies that pour into Bastille from that program boggle the mind. You hear me? Boggle the mind. And when you get the narrative, two islands, passport belong to both of us. But there's a feeling in some quarters that really the passport is a Sinkits passport. And therefore the money that comes in is Sinkits people money. Nothing else so. The passport is a national asset. And so all that we've said, and in fact Team Unity was formed. That was one of the pillars of Team Unity, you know. That the CBI proceeds will be shared equitably. Now let me be clear, I didn't say equally. It can't be shared equally. Sinkits is bigger than Nevis. But equitably mean that you get a fair share. And what we said was that we will use a population basis. So Nevis has about 1/3 the population. Sinkits 2/3, we would use that. If it's a quarter, well, 25%, 75%, but that is what you call equitable sharing. That was the plan. The plan has not yet materialized, because while Nevis has received some funds, we are nowhere close to an equitable share. Nowhere close. And when I hear people over here on the island of Nevis swallow hook, line and sinker this line about, oh, money coming over, what you do with the money? And I said, listen to our own people. When on these issues there should be no difference, you know, because these are perennial issues. NRP was there in government and they got nothing. In fact, they were in coalition with Denzel Douglas and got nothing. CCM has done better, but I am saying that better is still not good enough, and I don't hold any water in my mouth to say so. So when all of a sudden we hear this narrative, and then Nevis was pushing the narrative, oh, I get all this money. Let me be clear that the $260 or so million that is being bandied about started in 2015. 2015, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. That's 7 years. 7 years. I hear now some figure about 371 million. That was the figure bandied about last night. But again, just deceitful. Because the Prime Minister, who for whatever reason decided that he's going to make these statements publicly, he made it clear that the money he was talking about was not money to the NIA. Can he talk about things like economic costs for students, step workers? Those are not paid by the NIA. That money doesn't come to the NIA. So you can't pay economic costs for a student in Jamaica because that student happens to be from Cox or Coal Hill. And then you turn around and the NRP now saying, oh, what CCM do with that money? Well, we never received that money. That should be obvious to you. It should be obvious to you. But here I am, and Nevis is, and the CCM-led administration is being asked, explain what you do with the money. And the NRP have grabbed the bone and run with it. And I said to them, but are you so foolish? Are you so foolish? Because the question Nevisians must be asking is not what Nevis did with the little money they got. The question that Nevisians should be asking is, does this money represent a fair share? That is the question. The question that you should be asking, well, if Nevis get 260 million, well, how much Sinkits get Daddy Bo? Huh? Well, if Nevis get 260 million, well, how much Sinkits get? That should be the question. Because if, when that question is asked, you hear, Sinkits got 4 billion. You might have an expression like Dr. Douglas did and say, me, I can't say it on Van Radio. When I see that, I say, me want to cry. I want to cry. Those are the questions we should be asking as Nevisians, instead that we got some ragtag set of people up here say they're ready for governance. What for governance you ready for? You don't even know what song I play. You don't know what I keep. You don't understand what is happening. So you're throwing these little things and you don't even stop to say, well, what really is this about? Because if you stop and you are in the vision, you should be asking the right questions. You should be saying, well, if I get this, well, how much you get, Bo? Because only when you have done that could you know whether or not you're getting a fair share. But you're seeing where the money is going. I pointed out last night. I think it's important. Let me do the math. I'm going to open the lines again, callers, just now. Our wage bills, salaries, wages, and pensions in Nevis each year, each month, is about $7 million. Right? I'm rounding. I'm using 8 round figures. That's $84 million a year. Let me count the years again. 2015, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. That's 7 years. So let me multiply that by 7. That's $588 million that the NIA would have spent in the last 7 years. And I'm using round figures in salaries, wages, and pensions. When you minus from that $260 million that everybody talking about, you have $328 million that the taxpayers of Nevis would have had to find just to pay salaries and wages. I put it that way because when I hear people talking sometimes, I wonder if they understand money and they understand finance and they understand government. I wonder. Because some of them talk as if somehow the NIA collected a check for $260 million and refused to at least be honest to the people of Nevis and say that money came over the course of the past 7 years. That's how the money came, not in a lump sum. Over the past 7 years. And so when you talk about what has been done, the last 2 of those 7 years, we had to keep the lights on. We had to pay our staff. We had to pay our pensioners. We ensured that not one solitary soul was sent home. We paid our people on time and in full every single month, even when the whole country was locked down. Public servants were home for weeks. They got their paid. They pay on time and in full. To do that, yes, we used some monies that we got from the CBI program. Yes, we borrowed, because we also ensured that the island kept running. We also ensured that the housing kept being built. We also ensured that the water upgrades were done, the electricity upgrades were done. We never went to sleep. We never threw our hands in the air and said, woe is me, woe is me. No, we continued the good fight. And the Lord has blessed us, and for that we are grateful. So, if there's going to be a debate, and debate is going to be joined in the country, it's my simple request: lift the standard and stop treating people as if they're foolish. Because when you say nothing to do, and a man out there on a backhoe, and a man who has a truck, and a man who has an excavator is working every day, he knows that you're not telling the truth, because he's busy building the infrastructure of the island. When you say nothing to do, and planning is saying that 163 active construction sites exist on this island right now. 163 active construction sites. If you want to average, and we tried to do it the other day, let me take out my calculator again. 163, and you average 7 persons working on each of those sites. That's 1,100 construction workers going out to work every day. Why my government, again, in response to COVID, put in place a comprehensive package of concessions for first time and other persons who are going to construct, whether home or business, commercial or residential, whether you're going to renovate. And you know what's happening? Just to tell you the vision, we remove the alien and holding license fee of 10%. It means that property price for non-nationals coming in to buy only existing villas and not vacant land, that dropped by 10%. People flooded in $74 million worth of property change hands in 9 months in Nevis. A record. What is now happening is that the people who have bought now have said, you know what, let us renovate. Let us put in a pool. And so all across the length and breadth of Nevis, there's construction. I'm not even talking about what Alexis and Land and Housing is doing in transforming the affordable housing landscape. That, I'm putting that to one side. I'm talking about private construction all across Nevis. and you drive past it every day. You may well have family members building house for people, and you say nothing, no keep. You can't see nothing. Huh? No, if you come and you say yes, things are happening, but we can do more because we have a better plan. Well, that's an argument. Let us have that discussion. But you have to be deaf, dumb, and blind. And I am sure that if Stevie Wonder landed here tomorrow, he would say, my God, this island is beautiful. You know, he like to do his head. So I'm going to do his head. My God, look at the progress in this island. It is beautiful. And I all walk up and down, got full eye, full hearing, full everything. And I can't see. I can't see. Nothing happening, nothing happening. And what Stevie? Oh, it's such a beautiful island. Yeah? Such a beautiful island. And I can't see them. Let's go back to the phones. It's 1:15 I think I'm done now. We're taking your calls on 869-469-1616 and 869-469-1700. Those are the numbers if you want to call. I'm sorry for those callers. I had something to say and I needed to say it. Now I'm done. So you can call in and say what you have to say. 869-469-1616 and 869-469-1700. My simple request is this: we have to get serious. We have to get serious. Look at COVID-19. Let's join hands and fight COVID. No, we're not getting involved in that. We're not encouraging nobody to get vaccinated. That's responsible. That is the height of irresponsible behavior. Let's go to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark. Hello, you're on the mark. Hello.
Just a minute, Mark. Just a minute, Mark. Let me turn on the radio. They say roads and walls. They do not have anything at all. That's what they say. And I think it should go into a slogan. They don't know anything at all. Roads and walls, they do not know anything at all. Continue to do what you're doing. And when last night I heard the math that you put up with 7 million a year, turn the radio off. I said it is a simple math, 84,000, and somebody said, no, the math is wrong. They need to go back to school to study math. At the same time, Nevis has been transformed into a major country in terms of infrastructure. I said it on radio, and I will continue to say it. I am proud of where we are, what we look like, and I have no qualms about the transformation of Nevis because it's there. I see it, I understand it, and I commend you people with regard to the governance that you're doing. Continue to do it. Roads and walls, they complain about, they don't understand anything at all. You have a good night, a good program.
Thank you, my brother. And you know, I like to hear when individuals like you call in, because you all have lived a long life and you have wisdom. And as I said, I would be lying if I sat here tonight as the Premier of Nevis and said everything was perfect. Everything is far from perfect. I'd be lying if I said we had not made mistakes in government, because we have. And every government makes mistakes. But when I hear people say nothing is happening, it bothers me, because it means that they're being dishonest and they're trying to mislead the people of Nevis. It bothers me. And that is why I'm saying, if you're very serious about this thing called politics, and it's not a retirement plan for you, because some of them, we understand, are already collecting pension, already collecting social security. So you have come in the last shower rain. We understand that. But you say you have something to offer. Well, at least engage in some plans. Not telling people how bad things are, because people know and understand, and yes, things have been difficult for some. I'm not trying to understate that. But they've also had a government that they know cares and is working for them. And as the country now starts to reopen, we can feel the exuberance. We feel it. We feel the momentum. We feel the island regaining the momentum. And what I'm saying to you is, if you have a better plan, then bring it. But your plan can't be just to sit down every day and say, nothing happen. I don't see nothing happen. And then swallow hook, line, and sinker. How should I put it? A googly that was boiled for you to grab up. Nevis get all this money. And take your eye off the real question. Is Nevis getting a fair share? Because that's the real question. And that's a question whoever in government in Nevis is going to have to contend with. Is Nevis getting a fair share? That is the question. Let me go back to the phones. It is 21 minutes past the hour of 9 o'clock. Good evening, you're on the mark. Hello? Hello?
Good night.
Yes, you're on the mark. Go ahead.
Yeah. I would like to say happy birthday to Peace Library of Bentonville. And there's Robert the Night Level from Pookie. Just be good.
All right, thank you, brother. I join you in wishing Keish and Des happy birthday. I'm happy that you're calling to say that to them, because very good people. So happy birthday to them both. I don't know how old they are, but they look quite young. So I trust and hope they had a wonderful day. Let me go back to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark. Okay, we lost that caller. All right. For those of you just tuning in, my name is Mark Brantley, and you're tuning to On the Mark. We are, of course, on Von Radio, the voice of Nevis, the Eastern Caribbean's only powerhouse, where only the best will do. And we are giving you some straight talk across the Narrows, from the hills over there in Phillips's and St. Kitts to the hills right over here in Rollins in Nevis. Straight talk. And, of course, we are streaming live on Facebook, on YouTube, and so you can watch and listen at the same time. But if you're on radio, it's 860 on the AM dial, or if you're listening on the internet, www.vonradio.com. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark.
All right, hello, good evening.
Yes, good evening to you.
All right, I just want to share a little knowledge here. It's a little away from the point where you guys are talking about, but it's about the crypto space. Have you ever heard about cryptocurrencies?
Yes, of course.
All right, this is just for the people in general. Cryptocurrency is something that is built upon something called blockchain technology. There's lots of opportunities at stake in the crypto space as we speak. And actually, when you open Facebook, tell me what shows up. Facebook from Meta. We have heard about the metaverse, I'm sure. Is it? Have you ever heard about the metaverse?
Well, I've heard the term, caller. I can't say that I know what it is, so perhaps you can explain it to us.
Okay, the metaverse is something that a virtual space that Mark Zuckerberg is building, and around this metaverse there are cryptocurrencies, and you can invest in these cryptos. And some of these cryptos are going for below $1, and these are opportunities that we must take up at this time. The crypto space is fairly new and is not heavily regulated, so this is the perfect time that we must stick our head in and ride the market up and take this opportunity. Thank you.
Okay. Well, the cryptocurrency space is an interesting space. It is not for the faint of heart, I can tell you that. And it is something that I think, as we try to educate our people, it requires some education, because even some of us, many of us, I would say, who are in government and policymakers, don't quite understand the technology. But it is very interesting. Bitcoin is one of the cryptocurrencies that seems to be growing in leaps and bounds. In fact, I looked at something which tells me that a single Bitcoin is worth, I believe the last thing I saw was 60-something thousand US dollars.
US dollars, yeah.
Yeah, one Bitcoin is now valued at $60,252.79. So it really means if you got in low, you know would be very, very wealthy. And we have some people here in the Federation, like you might have heard of about Roger Ver. These are people who are big players in that industry, and they live right here. So the truth is that I believe the fundamentals are there, but we don't know enough about it. And I confess readily to myself not having the requisite knowledge. I would need to be brought up to speed, and I think a lot of us are in that same boat.
All right, but I just want to say the opportunity is there now that the metaverse is something that is new, and the cryptocurrencies are selling at very low prices at this time. So please, everybody, research. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for that. A different caller with a different perspective, and that's what this show is all about, getting views and opinions from the public. Let's go back to the phones. We're going to take some more calls. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Mark?
Yes, good evening.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. How things?
Good, not bad at all. Jovan Swanson here from the Davis Theatre and Film Association.
Man, the voice is so powerful you don't need to identify yourself, man. Everybody knows this voice.
All right.
Yes.
Anyway, I'm calling in regards, Mark, to our production this weekend. You would have remembered back in August, we'd have done a film Unshackled, and we would have slated for done presentations. The second should have been on that Culturama weekend. But COVID would have forced things so that we weren't able to do it. So we are doing it this Saturday night, 8 p.m. at NEPAC. It's a film shows what addiction of the wrong kind can lead to, how destructive it can be, and how people can get themselves out of this. It's a very good message in the film and in the production, and we are hoping to have as many persons as possible come out. For tickets, 765-3389. It is by tickets only, or should be by tickets only. And so we are trying to get all the tickets that we have sold. So we are encouraging people to call in and get your tickets so that we can have a full house. So
give the details again. What is the play about?
It's Unshackled. It's about addiction and what addiction can do, the destruction of addiction. And for tickets again, 765-3389. NEPAC, 8 p.m. sharp. We start seating at 6 p.m. so that by 8 o'clock we can have the show rolling.
Okay, thank you very much for that. We're just going to continue to hope for the best, and we know the Theatre Guild is doing some excellent work, so we trust and hope that people will go out. And this is all part of the recovery. The fact that we now could have the theatre again, we can do things again, and that is why when we encourage people to get vaccinated, is because we want all of us to be part of the recovery. All of us. We want to be part of the recovery. We don't want anybody left out or left behind. So protect yourself. Prepare yourself so that you can benefit from what is happening on the island of Nevis. That is what we are seeking to achieve. Ladies and gentlemen, we are half an hour or so from the end of the show. We're taking calls and we go back to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark. Okay, we've lost that caller. Callers, please bear with us. 869-469-1616 or 869-469-1700. Let's go straight back. Good evening, you're on the mark. Hello?
Good evening, Mr. Black. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening to you. If you have a radio on, could you turn it off or move away from it? Otherwise, you get some feedback.
Yeah, it's off now. Is it good?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, so I was listening, and I definitely agree with your characterization of the opposition. But I think when you mentioned that people are trying to deceive, and people have been deceived over the years, and so that's one of the reasons why misinformation keeps spreading. I remember sometime there about 2019 you mentioned Freedom of Information Act.
Yes.
And I think that would definitely help in terms of keeping people informed, and so they don't fall victim to fake news, so to speak. Well, any new information on that? Well,
the Freedom of Information Act, I don't know that is going to be the panacea that some people think it is. First of all, it is one of the unfulfilled commitments that we have made, because we passed the legislation but we have not operationalized it. We have not operationalized it because one of the requirements of the legislation is that each and every department of government must have an information officer for purposes of satisfying requests under the Freedom of Information legislation. So the infrastructure is quite detailed, and that is why we have not yet been able to operationalize it. We have been able to operationalize integrity in public life, and just a week ago, 2 weeks ago, I filed for the third time since I've been Premier my declaration of assets and liabilities with that Integrity in Public Life Commission. But this part, yes, I agree that is yet to be fulfilled. However, I want you to understand that even when it is put in place, it still does not protect us from misinformation. What I mean by that is, yes, you might be able to get access to say, well, how much was a contract? How much did it cost to build this road or to build that school? But if somebody can see the school being built, have their children going to the new school, and say nothing happening in the country, Your freedom of information act can't help you with that. So it is not designed to prevent people from trying to misinform you. It is merely designed to give you information about what is happening in government, like contracts and, if decisions are taken, etc. What's the cost of certain things? That is what it's designed to do. So you're still going to have the fundamental problem of fake news, basically. And we have seen even in the great United States, one of the great models of democracy the world has seen, that fake news now has a place and has a firm place in the body politic. Because you have people who go out and every day tell you things they know not to be true. And some people, whether it's blind loyalty or whatever it is, they say, well, so you go. I listened to some interviews I did on, I can't remember if it's CNN, one of the channels there in the US. And I was amazed. They interviewed a bunch of these folks who are Trump supporters who say that Donald Trump is still the president of the United States. He's still running the country. And no matter what they tell them, they say no. They know that to be true. So my simple view is that we cannot allow that to take hold here. If we're going to have a debate, let us have a debate which is one based on substance. But you can't tell me that COVID isn't real and it didn't happen. That COVID has not factored into the life and times of Nevis. Tonight I read out that 5 people have died so far. Those are not 5 Jumbie. 5 people. Those are not imagined or imaginary. These are human beings who were with us until COVID came. And so when I hear people say, oh, now study that, that is not any reason. You have failed in government, you haven't done well in government. I said, which government had a manual to deal with COVID? And the answer is none. Nobody had seen a pandemic in the world in the last 100 years. Nobody. Whether you're President Trump, President Putin, whoever you were, nobody, no mortal had seen that. And so Nevis was no exception. But I think relatively speaking, we have done well. We have done well because we have kept working, we have kept innovating, we have kept trying during this COVID pandemic. So that's all I'm asking. Leave the fake news aside. Stop saying nothing happening that you don't see. You could say you don't agree with what is happening. But it's a bold-faced lie to say you don't see anything happening. And that's why I use the example. A brand new police station, you pass by it every day and you say nothing happening. Because it built itself. It dropped out of the sky. But I agree with you, caller, that we have an obligation which is as yet unfulfilled on integrity, freedom of information, and it has to happen.
Yeah, because I think the problem is not people don't believe things are not happening. They think that not enough is happening. So definitely having the information for people to go and see how the money is being spent would be helpful.
Okay, thank you very much for that. All right, we have another call. No, ladies and gentlemen, please, you have to call in. I'm getting hoarse now, man. You're making me talk too much tonight. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark. Okay, we missed that caller. Callers, please be patient with us. 869-469-1616 and 1700. Let me say good evening to my dear friend Ursula, who is there all the way in Georgia. I can't say Atlanta. She lives in Villa Rica. Good evening to you. Good evening to Jean, who's listening. Jean, I know you listen avidly to the show. Good evening to my lovely aunt, Baby D, Auntie Baby. I trust and hope you're well. To Trevor, to Jerry, to the whole family circle in the U.S. Helen, Soraya, those here at home, Michelle, Ray, the whole family. Wherever you are, I know you all tend to listen. Good evening to all of you. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Good evening again, bro.
Good evening to you.
The gentleman who brought on the cryptocurrency information, he has to be able to understand, and I think you have given him some good advice regarding how people are not totally ready. Some people are ready, but also there are certain people, about 1,500 claims have been registered against cryptocurrency, and one man has already lost $7 million, and he can't get it back.
Wow.
There are crooks in the game. At the same time, it is a fight between even China. Depending on how these big players get in, they are attempting to prevent people from hiding money from the national government. As a result, these are people who are fighting against the emergence of the cryptocurrency scenario. So what I'm going to recommend is that people who attempted to get in, as you have rightly said, they've got to find out a lot about the information. They got to get a lot of information regarding the cryptocurrency scenario. So in that regard, I am saying to the gentleman who called it, it's not a bad idea for the idea to be floated around, but many of us are not ready for that scenario. I mentioned earlier that Raymond James, which is a stockbroker in the United States, they've done very, very well in terms of managing assets for one of our big banks here. And as a result, if people want to make money in the stock market on Wall Street, tune in, get linked up with Raymond James or Charles Schwab, or there are a few more stock brokerage firms that are well established, and you would not be hoodwinked in terms of your wealth that you have accumulated over the years. So I would recommend the stock that is moving quite rapidly right now. A brand new stock that came on the market.
Mm-hmm.
It's the symbol is RIGIN. Has shot up into the stratosphere.
Yes.
It started at somewhere at $58 here. It went up to 172 within the last 2 weeks, and it's now back down to settled down to 142 tonight.
But still, that's a considerable appreciation, though.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in that regard, I am saying to people, put your toe in the water, but it's not for the faint-hearted as you have recommended, and you have educated our people so far. But the metaverse is there, and the big players who, in fact, will determine what the outcome would be. I said, only big players, people, and this is not a game for the faint-hearted. And I would be repeating myself, but I will say it for the last time. One man has lost 7 million, and he cannot get it back.
Mm.
And even some of the people who are trying to help him are cooks in the game. You have a good night.
Okay. Thank you very much for that, and thank you for the tips. And of course, investment, especially whether it's crypto, whether it's in the stock market, it's for people who educate themselves and acquire the necessary tools and knowledge. It's something that I believe is important, and a lot of people here do it. A lot of people doing day trading and all of that, but it requires that skill set, and you need to get in before you just go in and lose your money. So you need to know what you're doing. Let's go back to the phones at 20 minutes to the hour. Good evening, you're on the mark. Hello? Okay, caller. Again, please try and call back. 869-469-1616 and 1700. Those are the numbers to call if you want to be a part of the show for the next 20 minutes or so. So, let's go back then. Good evening, you're on the mark. Hello?
Hello, Brother Mark.
Yes, brother.
You see that speech that Honorable Eric Evelyn made to the conference that he went to?
Mm-hmm.
The global warming business?
Yes, COP26.
You're right. That speech there will never be forgotten. And because of that speech and what is going on right now up in Dubai with the Expo and Delhi ranks and all who are up there to showcase our federation. When people start to come in here to invest, they're going to still say nothing doing. Nothing to keep. And they don't got some nonsense down here talking, but I don't when they make them kind of sound there, it just pass across me here like the wind blowing, going west, because I don't work for solid waste. And I call them there sidewalk dwellers. They don't pass in the scandal saying that the Prime Minister and all kind of people going up there go gallivant. But they ain't talking to me because they know who I am. Anyhow, they open them out and they use the first 3 words and I realize that they're talking garbage. I will tell them like the late Mr. Richard Kane say, you're talking nincompoopy.
I like that, man.
So, look out for them. When the entourage come back here and then they see investors coming in and they fell in love or they fall in love with Nevis and St. Kitts, they're going to say, boy, nothing to keep in a lot, we go abuse. Nothing to keep. But I'm glad that you're the kind of leader who would come out and speak out and say exactly what it is. Because last night you hear one of them say, they step back. You step back, why step back? They went in there because they feel like they could do better than who did. Well, if you feel so, go in and show it. But you know why they step back? Because the NRP tell them, listen, you ain't going to win no election to run the government. And if you stay in there, you're going to only cut down my votes. So step back. But they can't cut down CCM votes. Because CCM people are what you call country above citizens people. So they cannot cut down CCM vote, but they could cut down NRP vote because NRP were there and they did nothing but sit back and let a check bounce from down here government, from the federal government, the federal government in that time. Let a check bounce to feed Nevis and all the people of Nevis and to pay the bills. So NRP can't win no election in Nevis, not again. Nothing was going on up there. You met the amount of things that you all are doing.
They forget they were sitting at the table in St. Kitts when Nevis people check bounce up here.
Oh.
Right?
Oh, and they're smiling and grinning with them.
Oh.
And they're from up Nevis and they represent Nevis. Anyway, Brother Mark, time short, so, let me tell you this here. He no patient. He has a way to come on the last 7 minutes of your show and talk marathon. That by the time we finish, nobody could come behind and rebut him. So watch out for him. I hope you got
Well, I got Epsom sauce tonight.
Okay then. Thank you very much.
All right, brother. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you for the call. And you know what? You're so right. And you know these little tidbits we need to remember. I am persuaded that the current crop of NRP hopefuls have not sufficiently acquainted themselves with the political history. I'm persuaded of that. Because they hold fast to Dr. Simeon Daniel. And who wouldn't hold fast to Dr. Daniel? Dr. Daniel was, I believe, head and shoulders above anybody who has emerged in the, not only Nevis, but in the Federation in a very, very long time. So I would not even question that. But Dr. Daniel was not the only leader of NRP. And he was not the only individual who was involved with the NRP. The NRP has had a more recent history, and somehow they have acquainted themselves with the accomplishments of Dr. Simeon Daniel, so Simeon, our national hero, but have ignored entirely the more recent incarnation of NRP. In fact, they call themselves the new NRP. They don't remember them at all. Because if they did, as this caller said, they would remember that Patrice Nisbet of the NRP sat with the Douglas government in St. Kitts and they allowed National Bank to bounce salary checks in Nevis for the workers of the NIA on the island of Nevis. That is the legacy of the Nevis Reformation Party. Let's go back to the phones. 2:45. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Good evening. Earlier you mentioned about the Mondo track.
Call, I'm not hearing you properly. Earlier mentioned what?
About the Mondo track.
Yes.
So I'm curious about if there has been a structure put forward for the 2020 year for sporting activities back in the schools.
Caller, please forgive me, but your voice dipped. You were saying, is there something put in place for what?
Yeah, I was wondering if there is a structure something being put in place for the year 2022 in terms of reintroducing sports back into sporting activities back into schools?
Yes, caller. We have been having a number of discussions along those lines in terms of how we can do it and do it safely. In fact, it's interesting you ask the question, because on my way here I saw that Prime Minister Andrew Holness of Jamaica, put up something saying that he was so happy that they were at the National Stadium in Jamaica watching the Reggae Boys play against the USA, a qualifying match, and he said 5,000 vaccinated fans were in the stadium. So it appears that what is happening around the world is people are moving to a vaccinated only type of activity and allowing mass gatherings there. Is that the correct direction for us? That will be the discussion that needs to be had. But I believe all of us have missed sports for the past 2 years, and sports is a critical part of our school life, and the youngsters have missed out on the opportunity for inter-primary, etc. So we are definitely working to bring that back. We had in fact hoped that we would have been able to have inter-primary this year. Of course, that never happened, because instead we had a terrible spike with COVID. So yes, the matter is being looked at very closely. Education is involved, sports is involved, to see how we can bring back activity in terms of sporting events in the schools and of course at the Mondo track as well. It's all about the mass gathering, crowds being together, and what is the safest way to allow that to happen. Now we have precedent. We have precedent, caller, because remember CPL was just held and they only allowed vaccinated fans. So there's precedent for it. So I believe that something can be worked out, and we will be pushing hard to get something in place.
Yeah, even live streaming can work.
Well, yeah,
activities. You don't have to have, no fans, and so the live streams can work. And
well, that's one issue, because even in Europe, when they started again to play soccer, they had the stands empty, and some of the coaches were complaining because they're saying, you know, when your little Johnny running, you want to be there saying, run Johnny, run. You know, the students want their parents and friends and fans there. And it's different when you operate in an empty facility. So that is I hear your point about the streaming, but that is what we are looking at to see how we can marry the two, that you can have the crowds but be safe at the same time.
Alright.
Okay?
Alright, yeah man, cool.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. It is 10 minutes to the hour of 10 o'clock. We continue to take your calls. We have ample time to take a few more calls at 869-469-1616 and 1700. Going back to my point about not understanding the legacy and the history, or pretending not to understand it. You have a situation that they call reminders of that check bounce. It was a day of infamy in the island of Nevis. Imagine, if you will, with me, that you work hard all month. You got your bills to pay. You have babysitter to pay. You have child care to pay. You have your food to buy. You have Nevlec and Digicel and Flow to pay. You have to pay for your teeth, and your check bounce. And when you unraveled it, the checks were bounced at the behest and with the knowledge and consent of the federal government, in which Patrice Nisbet was sitting. I want to know which table I could be around in St. And Timothy Harris, Sean Richards are who come tell me they're going to make a decision to hurt Nevis. I don't care who in power in Nevis. I want him as a Nivision, a man who never string buried on a Henley Park, Scarborough, who moved to Brownhill as a youth, going to sit down anywhere in St. Kitts or anywhere in the world for that matter, and hear people are taking a decision to hurt Nevis. And I go along with that. Can't happen. It cannot happen. And so that is when we talk. This is, you have to come. I have said the best thing is to come. I hear they have all kind of programs now on radio. And clearly they've come to the only powerhouse in Eastern Caribbean, VON. And that's where, when you want to talk on a big stage, you come here. So you've now found a big stage. That's fine. Start with an apology. Make a speech. Let everybody wear sackcloth and ashes. And you come and you say, I have come to atone for the sins of the NRP. I have come to say sorry for all them people land we took from them and never paid them. I have come to say sorry that we were at the table when Nevis checks were bounced and did nothing. You come, you say we are sorry when we denigrated the young professionals in Nevis, telling them they don't know what they're doing. We are sorry for giving all the work to a foreign firm when Nevisians here were kicking stone. Tell the people, we're sorry for taking all them people name off the voters list. Hundreds of you with disenfranchised. We're sorry for treating foreigners like dogs in this country, deporting Guyanese and putting something in the system which says that they cannot re-enter the country. Something reserved for terrorists. We're sorry. That's what you must do. Come and do penance. In fact, you must get a whip and kneel down in the square and let people whip you as you do penance. Huh? Do that so that people know that you will never again do those things to people. But instead you come and you start to talk. Some of you like, I just wake up. What they say the person name? Is Rip Van Winkle? The one who sleeps so long I can't remember now. Can't remember my nursery rhymes. Right? I mean, that is what you need to do. Come first, own up to all the bad deeds, apologize, then we can move forward. But I want to come and pretend like I didn't know what happened. Well, maybe I didn't know. Maybe I didn't know, because I don't really understand the motivation between some of you who now say that you're coming to offer yourself in this, the autumn of your years. You wait till you're collecting Social Security to come say that you're offering your ideas to the people of Nevis. Well, where were you all along? Where were you all along? That is what I don't understand. You had no ideas all along that you could have offered. I listened to this program last night and I heard somebody, if I recognize the voice properly, he's what the Webster Dictionary would describe as a buffoon. And what he engaged in on the radio last night was buffoonery. So he called in and made some curious points. That's all I could use. Curious points. You know, sometimes you can be so bright that you end up stupid. You're bright till you're foolish. Because all of them celebrate. But I hear one of the panelists here, the one who say step back and had never stepped forward. He said that people should have concierge service and all that, and government. Well, government must open business for people. I don't understand. What is the role of government? Government's role is to create the environment where people can excel. That's government's role. So we put a $5 million fund during this COVID pandemic to provide seed money of up to $100,000 for small businesses for women and youth. That's what government is supposed to do. Government is supposed to start concierge business. Government is supposed to build marina, as somebody called in, and charge people to pull up boat. That's not government's role. Government should have investors come to fulfill those roles. And if some of you who sit around the table and now put on your jacket and tie and have all the ideas in the world, the question, I believe another caller called and say, how come you have never implemented any of that? And it reminds me of the story. I tell the story all the time because it's the sweetest story I ever heard. Of a candidate for the NRP sitting next to a young man on the bench. The young man is sipping a Guinness. And the candidate said to the young man, are you working? The young man said, no, I am looking for a job. He said, I have the perfect plan. It will create hundreds of jobs. I know what I'm doing. I will create jobs in this country. You must vote for me. The young man took a sip of the Guinness and reflected and said to him, but boss, you now work and me now work. So how are you going to help me? You can find a job for yourself, but you have a plan to find work for me? And as they said, they ended the scripture reading, because where are you going to go from there? You have not demonstrated any capacity to even help yourself, but you're telling people you got the answer for them. You don't pay your bills. You refuse to pay your rent, your water bill and your light bill, but you tell a young man out there who paying his, boy, put me in charge of you. Put me to be the minister. I have the answers for you. The young man said, but me I pay my bills, you not pay your one. Every month I work, I make sure the roof over my wife and children head is secure. You're not sure about that. So how you going to lead me? I should be leading you. And that is what I don't understand, what it is our people are really about. That you could just jump up tomorrow, dust off, and say, whoever will take me, I'm ready, I'm ready. I tell people already, I said it on Facebook. You have a particular individual, and the campaign has started, but it will start. A particular individual who sent a message to me saying that they're now ready to run for the Concerned Citizens Movement. I said, oh, interesting. Because I never sent no message to say I wanted anybody. But the individual offered himself. Then I didn't move on it. I hear that the individual forming his own party. And then I waited for that because I believe more the merrier. That's all right. We don't need to be a 2-party island. We could be a 100-party island. And then I'm told that some calls came from places on high. Some monies came from places on high. And then the individual say, the money is sweet. Let me now jump and see if NRP will have me. And NRP say, yeah, because it looked to me like NRP will have anybody right now. NRP is offering. NRP is offering some candidates, right? And I believe that if they're nominated, and I'm not sure they will be, that when they go into that polling booth and they see the hammer and they see, I can't remember what NRP symbol is, I think it's the bottle, the hand gonna start to shake, you know. Hand gonna start to shake. You know why? Because they're accustomed to vote for the hammer. The ballot may even get spoiled because as the hand shaking, you don't know where the X gonna end up. I tell you, a fella called me the other day, strong in RP, but he and I get along. He's my friend. He said, Mr. Brantley, I don't know what to do. I said, why are you confused? He said, because in more than one constituency, you have 2 CCM running. I don't know who to vote for. I tell him, well, vote for the one who running longest. 2 CCM running. He don't know who to vote for. And I know NRP people that are listening to me. I know some of you upset because some people have been parachuted in on you. You know not from whence they came. You know not from whence they came. Some people are making the most noise out there for you. You know that they used to make the most noise against you and got you out in the wilderness all this time. So I am persuaded that when the time comes, hand go shake. Hand gonna shake because they don't know where to put that X because they are accustomed to put the X next to the hammer. And you have to ask yourself the question, are these now the standard bearers? Are these now the standard bearers? Cowboys and clowns. I end where I started. You can never step back from something when you never did step forward in the first place. Ladies and gentlemen, that's our show. The banner struck up, it means we have to go. Thank you to all who called. Thank you to the number who messaged me, who was such a part of the show tonight. It was an enjoyable show. I enjoyed my time. I'm a little hoarse now, but I believe you got the measure of what I wanted to say. This show is rebroadcast tomorrow at 1 p.m. right here on the Eastern Caribbean's only powerhouse, VON Radio, the voice of Nevis, www.vonradio.com. That's our show. Thank you. Good night, and God bless you.
The views and opinions expressed on the preceding program were solely those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Nevis broadcast.